Fresh information out of Japan on the next generation Mazda 6. We'll also briefly talk about the iconic SP and the new Honda Prelude. Once again, yes, the Prelude coming back. Could this be a true BMW 3 Series fighter? Let's find out. First off, let's go over the images and then we'll talk about the likelihood of it being rear-wheel drive, things like that. So this design continues to evolve. I'll pull up the image that they had in the past. Both of these images and all this information is coming out of Best Car Web, the most reliable source of information out of Japan regarding upcoming new cars. Big wheels carry over. They're still pretty sure about the side garnish. I think that makes sense based off what we see on the large platform vehicles like the CX-60, the CX-90. However, the new renders seem to be more in line with a traditional sedan instead of a liftback. The grille design has much more depth to it. It comes down at the bottom instead of flat across like the previous one. It has, I would say, a more aggressive bottom portion. Since these designs differ quite a bit, I don't think Best Car knows at this point in time what this vehicle will actually look like, for better, for worse. I think if it looks like either of these, I think it would be a very successful vehicle. I mean, even the wheel arch design, this is more like a crossover, how these bubble out with the paint match wheel arches, and this is more like a traditional sedan. Now, even the back of the car has been reimagined. Again, more of that lift back design with the older sedan, more of the traditional sedan look here. We have visible dual exhaust, a much higher trunk line instead of this much lower trunk line down below. The last window here on the back by the C-pillar is much more rounded compared to this more angular one. Let me know which design you like down below a little bit better. I think there are some about the top that do look better, like the wheel arches. And then I like the idea of it being a lift back down below, but we're not done there because we have another render of the Wagon Mazda 6 coming back, reprising its role. Now, we haven't had a Wagon Mazda 6 in ages, but the current generation that is being phased out, that was phased out in 2021 for us here in North America, it had a wagon version for Australia, for Asia, for Japan. I mean, this looks really funky back here. This doesn't look right, but it is a render. They're just saying, hey, this Mazda 6 should also, again, have a wagon. And if it does, I sure hope they bring it to the United States, maybe as a lifted sport cross sort of thing like we see with maybe the Subaru Outback or the Volvo cross country wagons, or the, you know, the all-road that we see from Audi. That would be fantastic. Okay, so let's get into the news here of the Mazda 6. I did throw it through Google Translate, and hopefully we get some reliable information here. Mazda 6 under development behind the scenes. Also, iconic SP will be commercialized. We pretty much knew that. They're saying on the new platform, all the products besides the CX-80 essentially have been launched. The CX-70 will be launching here in the next few months here in North America, just kind of a two-row version of the CX-90. I will be driving that on the media first drive, so stay tuned for that. I think that'll be in May, if I remember correctly. They said they're making a lot of profit, more so than ever, and that is going to allow them to invest in the Mazda 6 flagship sedan. The next portion is talking about how the large platform was only developed for crossovers and that it's not really set up to be outfitted in a sedan variant. And a part of that is because it is supposed to be a plug-in hybrid as well as an inline six. And due to the floor differences, it might not work in a sedan. This is Mazda. This is a Japanese automaker. Don't be surprised if they modify that platform in order for it to be usable in a sedan. It's almost like the plug-in hybrid variant could be out of the window. Not 100% sure on that, but due to the floor now being a little bit different and the ground clearance being a little bit different, they may have to get rid of that plug-in hybrid variant. That's just my estimations. That's not what Best Car is saying here. That's just my guess, but time will tell. They're saying since it is such an issue to convert the large platform to a sedan variant, they might make it in the Chinese market with Chang'an, that's Mazda's joint venture automaker, and they might export it out of China into Japan. And we will have concepts or maybe even production versions of the Mazda 6, potentially a Mazda 3 for the Chinese market coming on April 25th. I like referencing this image. We knew that the CX-50 hybrid was, well, it's already available for the Chinese market, will be coming to the United States market, not from China. It will be built here in North America. We just don't know when it's coming. And they showed two sedans, a smaller one and a larger one. And it's going to be battery electric and plug-in hybrid. The problem is that this would be a completely different platform compared to the platform we have on the CX-90, the CX through the CX-60, right? Because that includes the CX-70 and 80 as well. So the rear-wheel drive inline-six platform, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does come from China. But if it does come from China, then we wouldn't get it in the United States due to the import tariff. So 25% import tariff from Chinese vehicles. They also make a reference to the Chinese-built Honda Odyssey. The Honda Odyssey we have in North America is completely different than the Chinese-built one that is exported to Japan. The note here on this image is saying, imagine a straight six front-engine rear-wheel drive Mazda 6. Gets this editor excited. Is it disrespectful to Mazda to call it a Japanese-made BMW 3 Series? Absolutely not. The 3 Series is fantastic. The stylish sports sedan is sure to attract attention in Japan, the US, and Europe. Isn't just an SUV not typical of Mazda? Right, they're saying a lineup of SUVs is not Mazda's DNA. Their DNA is fun cars to drive. And the lower the car is to the ground, typically the more fun it is to drive. And we need to have a large sedan to fill in the 626, to fill in the Mazda 6 that we used to have. They talk about the minimum ground clearance with this new platform is 160 millimeters. The current Mazda 6 has a minimum ground clearance of also 160 millimeters. And while it's not possible to keep it as it is, there is a possibility that could be modified slightly to accommodate a shorter car, a lower to the ground car. One of the Mazda officials said, I understand the importance of the Mazda 6. Even though the large platform is exclusive to SUVs, we believe it is worth making improvements that can also be used in the Mazda 6. They're saying another potential is a Mazda 6 will be BEV only. Now, the translation here is not accurate. It says for 20 years. I don't know what that would actually be. It could be in the next 2 years. It could be fully battery electric. They say Mazda will exclusively use BEVs in 2022. That could be 2032. Again, the translation's a little lost there. Inline six with 340 horsepower and around 369 pound-feet of torque made into an 8-speed auto. That could be a lock for the next gen Mazda 6. Definitely stay tuned for later April where we'll get a reveal from the Chinese market that could shed light onto the Mazda 6. And again, it's not confirmed for North America, but tradition would have it that it would come here. And maybe the translations just aren't good, but I feel like the latest Best Car web information on the Mazda 6 gives us more questions than answers. I'm going to trust my gut on this. I'd say we get a next-gen Mazda 6 in the next 2 years. It will be rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And it will have an inline six in it. We'll have a plug-in hybrid. I have no idea, but time will tell. Anyways, I'll see you guys down below what you want out of the new Mazda 6. I think a manual transmission is completely out of the situation. Iconic SP, they're saying it could debut in 2026. And they're essentially saying the concept was such a big hit at the Japan Mobility Show that they can't afford to not bring it to production. And that makes sense based off the recent patenting of this design when I made that video for you guys a couple weeks ago. It also sounds like Mazda is doubling down on the dual rotor as a rotary range extender here. I don't know how to feel about that. I will wait to see if that materializes into a production car. So it looks like it's coming. The new Prelude is going to be coming pretty soon as well. I like seeing it in red. I've only seen it in white. But the new Prelude 2025 debut decided. They're saying it's going to be a hybrid front-wheel drive. And it is going to be similar to the hybrid system, the 2-liter hybrid system, as the Civic Accord CR-V. That doesn't get me excited. The design on this is fantastic, but that powertrain, it's not a performance powertrain. It's a luxury slash economic powertrain, that 2-liter hybrid. It just doesn't have the response you need from a sporty powertrain. So response from a stop is good on it, but if you're already up to speed, it is not responsive. You're waiting for the power to be delivered to the wheels after you press the gas pedal. So unless they make some big improvements on the responsiveness, I don't know what to think about a hybrid in the Prelude. Now the Prelude, they're saying it's called the Prelude more importantly than ever because it is previewing the fully electric future for Honda, which Honda wants to be fully electric in most, everywhere around the world by 2040. Doesn't look like a great business plan right now. They might have to back out of that because of the recent lull in interest in battery electric vehicles. Hybrids are still growing. I think this is a smart idea to bring the Prelude back, bring a coupe back in the Honda lineup. We're all going to be happy, I think, as long as this hybrid is engaging. If they can bring a manual transmission with it, then it really will make it a lot of fun to drive, like the old CRZ. But the old CRZ, I never driven one, but they're saying it was pretty lackluster, even though it had a manual. But all these years later, you would think Honda would be able to outfit a hybrid properly with a manual with good power. And I'm hoping that's the case here with the Prelude. It's tough. What are you going to do? A lot of the, old school enthusiasts don't want electrification whatsoever, even if it's a hybrid. Time will tell. The design on this is out of this world, even though it looks kind of like a Crown or a Prius up front, or the new Camry as well. The rest of it looks fantastic, but I'm going to there. Mazda 6 coming back to the market. It's almost guaranteed. Honda Prelude coming next year before all these other cars, and then the iconic SP 2026 hopefully as well. So the next 2 years is going to be filled with a lot of fun cars from the Japanese automakers, and make sure you're subscribed because I will be bringing this information to you as soon as I get it out of Japan or through official press releases. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and peace out.